777 Partners.
777 Partners.
Farhad Moshiri has agreed to sell Everton to 777.
777 Partners have signed an agreement with Farhad Moshiri to acquire his full stake in Everton Football Club.
In September 2023, it was announced that American private investment firm 777 Partners had signed an agreement for a full takeover of Farhad Moshiri's 94.1% stake in Everton FC. Briefly celebrated by many Everton fans as the end to the dark era that the British-Iranian businessman oversaw, it wasn't long before new issues started coming to the fore, reminding the club's entire fanbase that they're not quite out of the woods yet. With scrutiny rife on the failings of the Premier League to enforce its rules on the current owners of its clubs, 777 will face a beefed-up owners and directors test. Where previous allegations of fraud and unpaid debts and active legal proceedings in the US will be investigated, as well as a 2003 drugs charge to which the company's co-founder, Josh Wonder, pleaded no contest to, is 15 years probation now being completed. So, who are 777 and how did they build their business? Many of the allegations around 777 Partners relate to their involvement in the cash for annuity market, with Wonder's firm having been one of the biggest buyers of structured settlement annuities, which are periodic payments given to a claimant over a long period of time to resolve matters such as injury claims. It is argued that the company targeted vulnerable members of society whilst operating in this market, employing a number of predatory financial practices to achieve success. One case involved a woman named Lindsay Noel, who had attained a brain injury and partial blindness from a car accident when she was 13. A settlement agreed with the truck company involved in the crash provided Noel with $1 million to be paid with interest in monthly annuity checks that escalated each year, starting at around $3,000 in 2009. Struggling with her injuries and consequent surgeries, however, Noel became addicted to painkillers and eventually opioids. Her annuity checks quickly became unable to cover her needs, and she began trading future annuities for immediate cash with several companies. In 2015, she received a Facebook message from a representative of Liberty Settlement Funding, then a subsidiary of 777 Partners, which culminated in the signing of a contract that traded away the entirety of her remaining annuity, around $793,000 for $180,000 according to court records. In the weeks between initial contact and signing the deal, she reportedly befriended two of the company's representatives who helped supply her with heroin and made her feel obligated to sign their papers. Soon after, Noel began to feel as if she had been scammed out of the money, and a lawsuit was filed against Liberty. Laurie Goni, Noel's mother, sent a letter to Richard Masters, chief executive of the Premier League, the day that 777 announced it had reached an agreement to take over Everton, to warn them about the company, claiming that they own a series of companies that profit from the misery of others. Several other similar cases have followed, especially with Liberty, which aggressively sought new clients under Josh Wonder's leadership. A former executive at a 777 subsidiary, Fava Jaffrey, stated, "They prey on individuals who are very young or very naive or drug addicts or people with problems." Jaffrey and several other employees also described a jocular, male-dominated work atmosphere that left them feeling uncomfortable, Jaffrey recalling in a lawsuit that Josh Wonder was frequently misogynistic about women, especially in hiring processes. Jaffrey also accused 777 of underpaying her and gender discrimination. In a similar way to how Liberty targeted vulnerable and down-on-their-luck individuals, 777 now identifies football clubs for acquisition. 777 has acquired 5 clubs thus far: Genoa CFC, Standard Liège, Hertha Berlin, CR Vasco da Gama, and Red Star FC, a lower league team on the outskirts of Paris, not Red Star Belgrade. They also have minority shareholdings in Sevilla and Melbourne Victory. Albert Samaha notes in an article with the Washington Post that each of the clubs in 777's portfolio was mired in financial turmoil when the company swooped in, bleeding money, soliciting former players for donations, gutting their rosters, drowning in debt. During the 2021 to 2022 season, Hertha Berlin lost around €80 million, Genoa lost 60 million and Standard Liège lost more than 20 million. Vasco da Gama carries more than $100 million in debt. And both Genoa CFC and Vasco da Gama have been relegated, re-promoted, and struggling to stay in Italy and Brazil's top flights respectively. As Everton descends into financial chaos and desperately tries to avoid another skirmish with relegation that has threatened the club in the last 2 seasons, it seems they fit the 777 bill perfectly. Moshiri, who has invested about £750 million, has stopped financially propping up the club. Their outstanding loans now surpass £350 million. The club posted a £417 million loss over the last 4 years, and they require a further £200 million to finish work on the new stadium at Bramley Moor Dock. Worryingly, there have also been reports that 777 has been late on payments on several occasions, such as with Vasco da Gama and the British Basketball League. But despite this, Everton and 777 are confident that a deal will proceed. Rather than exploiting distressed assets, the 777 website phrases their stated goal in sports as identifying value where others don't and harnessing opportunities to elevate undervalued sporting assets and clubs into highly valuable media and entertainment properties. They say they have 3 ways that they achieve this. The first is through properties. As established, 777 owns multiple sports clubs, operating on a data-driven philosophy, and with access to several assets from their wide array of clubs. Any club acquired will unlock immediate access to a network of shared data, marketing initiatives, financing, etc., all of which would, in theory, facilitate these clubs in quickly becoming profitable properties. The next approach is through rights and IP. 777 has directly invested in sports rights, including in a number of men's South American football leagues and national teams, and several women's football leagues. They say they have their finger on the pulse when it comes to sponsorships, merchandising, data monetization, gaming, etc. The final approach is via digital distribution. Digital content is the nut that teams all over the world are trying to crack, and 777 reckons they're onto a winner. Dr. Rob Wilson, a football finance expert, noted on a recent podcast with Business Breakdowns that the average Premier League matchday spectator is 52, and the younger markets, the 16 to 24 demographic, are more inclined to consume shorter, on-demand content like highlight packages, interviews, or behind-the-scenes content. This is partly due to cost, with Premier League games only getting more expensive, but likely has more to do with changing viewing habits and shortening attention spans. American sports have identified this, and if you look at entities like the UFC, they have monetized everything through content generation. Wilson refers to this as the 4th pillar of revenue in football, a revenue stream relatively unexplored, as of yet, and one that focuses on providing on-demand football content for fans, rather than matchday tickets or hot dogs sold at a game. We've seen teams dip their toes in this world with the all-or-nothing documentaries and the like, but there's surely a lot more potential to monetize this area of digital content in football. So, with this considered, the Everton acquisition makes a lot of sense. They're an underperforming club that should benefit from the network of assets, data and scale that 777 can provide, and despite recent performances, they're still one of the largest and most followed football clubs in English football, with untaken monetization opportunities seemingly everywhere. The question is, are 777's motives as noble as they would suggest? And will they be allowed entry into the Premier League with the cloud of their past dealings still casting significant shadows on their efforts? One would think that if there's any truth to the number of allegations against them, that entry should surely be denied, but with the Premier League's own history of leniency toward controversial new entrants, who knows? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.